Everyone keeps asking the wrong question. They ask, will AI replace me? But that's not the right question. The right question is, which parts of you are actually irreplaceable, and which parts only feel that way? Because here's the uncomfortable truth. Most people who think they're safe aren't. And most people who think they're in danger are holding on to something AI will never fully take. This video is a precision audit, not a comfort speech, not a warning, but a map. By the end, you'll know exactly where you stand. In 2012, a radiologist in London looked at an X-ray and spotted a tumor that 3 other doctors had missed. He felt irreplaceable. In 2023, an AI system detected breast cancer from mammograms with 94.5% accuracy, outperforming the average radiologist by 11.5 percentage points. That radiologist wasn't unique. He was pattern recognition with a medical degree. And pattern recognition is one of the first things AI mastered. This is the illusion of safety. The belief that complexity equals irreplaceability. It doesn't. Lawyers thought contract review was safe. Too nuanced, too contextual. AI now reviews contracts faster and with fewer errors than junior associates. Accountants thought tax preparation required human judgment. AI models ate that assumption alive. Journalists thought writing required a human voice. The Associated Press now uses AI to generate thousands of financial and sports reports every month. The pattern is always the same. A skill feels complex from the inside. It feels like art. It feels like judgment. But if it can be described as a set of rules, explicit or implicit, AI will eventually learn those rules better than you. The question is not, is my job complex? The question is my job ultimately describable? Let's be direct about where the human advantage is already gone. Memory. AI doesn't forget ever. It has access to more information in one query than a human expert accumulates in a lifetime. Speed. AI processes thousands of documents in the time it takes you to read one. Pattern recognition. This is the big one. Chess, protein folding, medical imaging, fraud detection, legal discovery, all fallen. Consistency. AI doesn't have bad days. It doesn't get tired at 3 p.m. It doesn't make different decisions based on whether it had lunch. Here is the honest summary. Any task that is primarily cognitive, primarily information-based, and primarily rule-following, AI has won or is winning. This is not catastrophe. This is reality. Because here is what the benchmark misses entirely. There are things AI is genuinely and structurally bad at, not because it hasn't been trained on enough data, but because of what it fundamentally is. The first is embodied cognition. You have a body, you have physical experience, you know what it feels like to be cold, exhausted, heartbroken, exhilarated. You understand risk because you have felt consequences in your flesh. A surgeon's hands carry decades of tactile memory that no language model can simulate. A carpenter reads wood grain through fingertips. A nurse reads a patient's pain through micro-expressions and room temperature and the sound of breathing. AI exists in text and pixels. You exist in the world. The second is social trust. Humans don't just exchange information. They assess credibility through proximity, through history, through the 1,000 invisible signals that accumulate between people over time. You trust your doctor not just because of their credentials, but because of how they look at you when they deliver bad news. You trust a negotiator because of what they didn't say. You hire someone because of a handshake. AI can simulate trust signals. It cannot earn them. The third is moral judgment under genuine ambiguity. Not ethical rules, not policy compliance, real moral judgment. The kind that requires sitting with discomfort, weighing incommensurable values, and making a call that you'll have to live with. Who decides when a self-driving car kills someone? Who decides how to allocate a scarce medical resource between 2 patients with equal need? Who leads a team through a crisis where there is no right answer? Always humans. Because moral weight requires a being who can bear it. The fourth is creative risk. AI generates. It recombines. It produces statistically likely outputs from what already exists. What it cannot do is decide that everything that exists is wrong and build something genuinely new from a hunch and a willingness to be embarrassed. The greatest creative acts in human history were not optimizations. They were ruptures. Picasso didn't improve on Rembrandt. He broke the frame entirely. That kind of creative destruction requires a self, a perspective, a stake in the outcome. AI has none of these. Here's where honesty becomes uncomfortable. Every advantage I just described, embodied cognition, social trust, moral judgment, creative risk, is real, and every single one of them is under pressure. Robotics is closing the embodied gap. Humanoid robots with physical dexterity are no longer science fiction. They are in warehouses. They are being tested in hospitals. The timeline is a decade, maybe less. Social trust is being simulated at scale. AI companions that 40% of users in one study reported feeling emotionally attached to. The simulation of trust is becoming indistinguishable from the real thing for a growing number of people. Moral judgment is being encoded. Slowly, imperfectly, dangerously, but it's happening. AI is being embedded in judicial sentencing tools, in hiring algorithms, in medical triage systems. We are already outsourcing moral decisions to systems that cannot bear moral weight. GPT-4 scored in the 99th percentile on the Torrance tests of creative thinking. AI is writing screenplays, composing music, generating art that wins competitions, sometimes without judges knowing. The window is still open, but the light coming through it is getting smaller. This is not a reason to despair. It is a reason to be precise, because the answer is not to compete with AI on AI's terms. That race is already lost. The answer is to become more human, not less. First, invest in judgment, not information. The value of knowing facts is approaching zero. AI knows more facts than you ever will. The value of knowing what to do with facts, in context, under pressure, with incomplete information, is going up. Second, build depth in human interface roles. The most durable jobs are not the most complex jobs. They are the jobs where the human being in the room is the point. Therapy, leadership, teaching, negotiation, caregiving, sales at the relationship level. These are not safe because AI can't do them. These are safe because people still want a human being doing them, for now. Third, develop creative courage. Not creative skill, courage. The willingness to make a call that is genuinely yours, to stake something personal on an idea, is the one thing AI structurally cannot replicate. Practice being wrong in public. Practice defending a position that isn't popular. Practice building things that don't optimize for approval. Fourth, understand AI well enough to direct it. The people winning right now are not the people doing the most. They are the people directing the most. Learn to delegate to AI effectively. That is a human skill now. AI is not a threat to humanity, it is a mirror. It shows us, with painful clarity, which parts of what we do are mechanical, and which parts are genuinely, irreducibly human. The mechanical parts are going. Most of them are already gone. What remains is something that took 4 billion years of evolution to produce. A body that knows the world through touch, a mind that builds trust through time, a conscience that can feel the weight of a decision, a self that can choose to break the frame entirely. That is not nothing. That is everything. You are still ahead. For now, protect what makes that true. Subscribe to Kairos. Think sharper, know faster.